Hey, welcome back to Vintage on Vintage. Today I am doing a VR from a good friend, John. John P. collects cards. You know, John just recently went over 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, John. That's huge and well deserved. I mean, John has a fantastic channel. Um, I will link it below if for any strange reason you're watching me and you're not watching John. That's a mistake. You should be watching John's channel. John, is a great member of the community. He's even a better guy. I've gotten to know John really well over the last couple of years. It started out with us walking the National together 2 years ago. We've done 2 trips now to Strongsville where we got to spend quite a bit of time in the car to get to know each other. And of course we do Bargain Hunters together. And he's one of my best friends in the community. He's a great guy. Congratulations, John. What he wants us to do for this VR is he wants us to talk about players we wish we could have seen play, which is, pretty cool topic. So this should be fun. He also wanted us to potentially shout out 2 channels. So I'm going to shout out a couple. The first one I'm going to shout out is Vintage Card Wonderland. Josh, I recently got to be on an episode with Josh and Joe, Redneck Collector, where we picked our favorite cards from each year on the 60s from aesthetically pleasing, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great one. And he's got a great channel. He's got a fantastic collection of cards, and he's a good guy. So I'm going to link him down below. So give him a check out, give him a sub. You'll enjoy it. And the other one is Steve over at Revs, Steve's Cards. And he's a great guy. I got to meet him at Strongville. Super good guy, just starting out making videos. I love the way he collects. He collects for the love of collecting, which is really cool, really cool. And he's got a great channel. So once again, I'll link him also, so check it out. So those are my 2 shout outs. Now let's look at the cards of the players that I wish I could have seen play. Okay, so John asked us to pick up to 9 players that we would have loved to seen play live. And boy, when you start looking at that list, 9 isn't a whole lot, John. So I tried to narrow it down by, first of all, I eliminated anybody I didn't have a playing days card of. So guys like DiMaggio, Gehrig, Ruth, Cobb, I don't have them. Love to have seen them. They're not on my list. And I still came away with 9 people I want to share. So the first 2 are football. The first guy is this guy right here, Gale Sayers. Gale Sayers was an amazing football player. I was actually, I was probably 9 years old when he retired, but I didn't really start watching football till 7.5, 8 years old. Unfortunately, Sayers' last few years weren't his prime years. I got to see him on highlights, the movie Brian Song, but I never actually got to see him live. And when I talk about these players, these are players, not that I saw live, but if I saw him on TV, I counted that. I don't ever remember seeing Sayers on TV. I remember seeing his highlights, and he's just a human highlight reel. Would have loved to have seen this guy play live. The other football guy that I have to have wanted to see live is this guy right here, Jim Brown. I've told the story many a time, so this is the guy my dad said is the best football player and running back he ever saw play. I've seen highlights of him. If you look at his records, they're amazing. Would love to have seen Jim Brown play live. The rest of the guys I'm going to talk about are baseball. And the first one is kind of a little different for me. And it's this guy here, Vern Stephens. I've always just been intrigued by Vern Stephens. I think when you look at his statistics, he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best hitting shortstops ever. He owns 3 of the top 6 all-time RBIs. So I've just always been intrigued by it. I would love to have been able to see him play feel for myself just how good a hitter or how good a fielder he was, whether he really should be in the Hall of Fame. Because I believe he should based on his statistics, but I never did get a chance to see him play. Next on my list, just like Jim Brown, who wouldn't want to see Teddy Ballgame? You know, my dad told me this was the best hitter that ever played the game. Bought me The Science of Hitting when I was a kid, said, read it, you'll be a better hitter. All that stuff. So yeah, I would have loved to have seen the splendid Splinter play ball. Yeah, would love that. Would have loved that. Another guy just like Williams that I would love to have seen is this guy right here, Stan Musial. God, he was such a... This guy should get way more credit than he does in the game. If you look at his statistics, he's an unbelievable hitter. 3,700 base hits, power, and consistency. You know, I think he hit pretty much the same on the road as he did at home. Just an incredibly great ball player. If he'd have played in New York, you know, or Los Angeles or Chicago, he would be up there with the Williams and the DiMaggios. He was just that good, and I would have loved to have seen him play. Next up for me is this guy. You know, Sandy Koufax. He retired. When he retired, I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, so I never did get to see Mr. Koufax pitch live. But man, was he an amazing pitcher, and I would love to have got the chance to see him toe the rubber. He's my favorite pitcher of all time. You know, I'm a Dodger homer, so that probably doesn't surprise anybody, but love me some Mr. Koufax. Who wouldn't want to see Jackie Robinson play? You know, for so many different reasons, right? He was an electric ball player, but, you know, also just to watch, I would have loved to have seen a game with him live. You know, with everything he put up with and still the type of player and human being he was, it would be great to see Jackie play. You know, and if I went to see Jackie play, you know, a side note is I would probably get to see these two guys too. And as a Dodger fan, especially those Brooklyn teams, who wouldn't want to get to, while you're watching Jackie, also get to see Roy Campanella or Duke Snider play ball. So that's another reason why I would pick Jackie. The last couple guys like this, I'm cheating a little because of that, because you get to see some bonus coverage, I guess I would call it. I would love to see, would have loved to see Yogi Berra play. You know, I read his book. It was really interesting. He was such a great ball player for so long, and he played different eras. Like he played with DiMaggio and Mantle, and he would have been fun to watch. And then just like Jackie Robinson, you know, if I saw Mr. Berra play, I'd probably also be lucky enough to see one of these two guys, if not both of them, play, and that would be Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle. So when you pick a guy like Mickey, you get a little added bonus. And then the last person, John, that I'm going to pick out of my cards is this guy. It's Eddie Matthews. You know, he was playing ball when I think he retired around 67, 68 maybe, but I never really saw him play. By the time I started watching ball, he was into coaching and managing. But I do remember reading Henry Aaron book about him, about Henry Aaron, and they talked about Matthews. And then as a kid, I read an Eddie Matthews book, and I've just always been intrigued by him. You know, I think, in my opinion, he's probably the second best third baseman ever. Right behind Mike Schmidt, and he might have been as good or better than Schmidt. I just don't know. I never saw him play. So that's one of the reasons why I would love to have seen Ed Matthews play. And then just like the other guys, if I saw Ed Matthews, there's a good chance I get to see Warren Spahn and Henry Aaron. Now, I never saw Spawn play. I did get to see Aaron play. I was lucky enough to see him play at the end of his career. But what I would really have loved to have seen was a young Henry Aaron, because when you read about him, when I saw him play, he was still the hitter. He was a great hitter. But when he was younger, he was a five-tool player. He could throw, he could run, he could do it all. And I would have loved to seen it. And it also just gives me an excuse to trot out my new Henry Aaron rookie card, which, I'll take that excuse any chance I can. So there you have it, John. Those are the players that I've picked that I would love to have seen play. It's a really cool topic. Congratulations again, my friend, on getting to 1,000 subs. I want to thank everybody who took the time to watch this. As always, stay safe, keep collecting. We'll talk to you soon.